Hi, in this video we're going to talk about Roman civilization. The term ancient Rome refers to the city of Rome, which was located in central Italy, and also to the empire it came to rule, which covered the entire Mediterranean basin and much of Western Europe. At its greatest extended in its stretch from the present-day northern England to southern Egypt and from the Atlantic coast to the shores of the Persian Gulf. Rome's location in central Italy placed it squarely within the Mediterranean cluster of civilizations. The most famous of these was that of the ancient Greeks, but others included those of the Phoenicians, the Carthaginians, and the Etruscans, plus several lesser-known peoples, such as the Lycians. The civilization of ancient Rome was rooted directly or indirectly in all this earlier culture. In its early centuries, Rome was particularly influenced by the powerful Etruscan civilization to its north, from which it acquired many aspects of its culture. As Rome's reach expanded, it came into direct contact with the Greeks. From then on, Greek influence will become an increasingly important element within Rome life. However, the Romans will give Greek culture their own slant, giving it a new grandeur which can be seen in Roman remains throughout the empire. Ancient Rome society originated as a society of small farmers. However, as it grew more powerful and more extensive, it became one of the most urbanized societies in the pre-industrial world. At the height of its empire, Rome was probably the largest city on the planet, with more than 1 million inhabitants, and the empire had a handful of other cities with several 100,000 inhabitants and many other large and wealthy urban settlements. These cities had some features which will have looked very familiar to us: high-rise apartment blocks, overcrowded slums, busy streets, plazas, imposing public administrative buildings, and so on. The Roman Empire contained around 2,000 cities. For the Romans, cities were communities which ran their own affairs and constituted the main building blocks of the empire. Every free person in the empire belonged to a city, which may not necessarily have been where he or she was living at any given time, but was his or her hometown. The Roman city was built around a forum. This was an open space surrounded by colonnades and public buildings. It functioned as a marketplace, political meeting point, and social center. The public buildings surrounding it will include the main temple, the basilica, which was the main government building where the town council met and town administration was carried on, the law courts, and the main public baths of the city. Stretching away from the forum were the city streets, forming a grid pattern so that a map of a city will look like a multitude of square blocks. Here will be situated the homes of rich and poor, the shops, cafes, and workshops of the town, more temples and public baths, and a theater, maybe two. Unlike Greek theaters, Roman ones were large, freestanding buildings of semicircular design containing entire ranks of seats. The city will be surrounded by walls, usually made of stone. Fortified gataways pierce the walls to allow people and traffic to pass in and out. Water was brought to the city, sometimes from miles away, along aqueducts. It was fed into public fountains dotting the city, from which poorer families drew their water, and also into private wells in the houses of the rich. The amount of fresh water available in an average Roman town was far greater than in later centuries, right up to 200 years ago. Roman cities also had public drains and sewers to take the city's waste away, and public toilets were available. Roman religion was very similar to that of the Greeks. Like the Greeks, the Romans worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, headed by the chief of the gods, Jupiter. Other gods included Minerva, goddess of wisdom and learning, Mars, god of war, Venus, goddess of love, Ceres, goddess of the earth, and Pluto, god of the underworld. As well as these major gods, numerous lesser deities, gods of earth and home, and forest and field, populate the spirit world. Roman religion placed great emphasis on proper rituals. Unlike Greek religion, Roman religion had a strong moral dimension. This was to do with behaving in an honest and dignified way towards others, keeping oaths and agreements on the shake of a hand, and in displaying courage and fortitude when misfortune struck. The Romans were very superstitious, always looking for good or bad omens before embarking on a course of action. Like the Greeks, they also consulted famous oracles. Ancient Romans were very advanced for their time, learning of easier ways to deal with situations and advancing technology and medicine. Some of the Romans' most well-known contributions to society were their welfare programs for the poor, irrigation systems, law and politics, and even concrete. Ancient Rome irrigation is most popularly known for the aqueducts which they constructed. Aqueducts used bridges in order to transport water to cities near the ocean. From the ocean there was a passage leading into a river or lake, and the Romans found that by using bridges to lead the water inwards and over deep grooves in the land, they could harness the water for their own use. Romans also began notions of the populares and optimates, or what we today call left-wing and right-wing factions. They also popularized voting, where two assemblies will choose two Roman adult male citizens and then allowed the people of Rome to vote for whichever person they thought was more eligible for the job. Concrete, one of Rome's most simple and yet best inventions, allowed Romans to build large structures that will stand for many years. One of the most well-known structures from ancient Rome times is the Colosseum. This large amphitheater could seat 50,000 people, more than any other in Rome. Some interesting facts are: at its height, the Roman Empire covered enough ground to feed 3 Alaskas in need and then some. The Romans laid down when eating their food. The most popular pets in Rome were ferrets, birds, and monkeys. Togas were a sign of wealth, not everyday dress. Thanks for watching.